Hey guys. Normally Emily does Wednesday's calls. She is out this week, so I'm taking on the call. So please let me know if you have any questions.
No questions, but hey, Becky, it's Dana. I
Yeah.
I figured you probably knew I'm out and about running errands now, but
Yeah.
we were talking the other day, and I looked today, and I want to share a win. Sweet
Ooh.
Memories is now listed as a top 1% property. We've been lingering in the 5% for a very long time, and I don't know if it was yesterday morning or this morning, and we're at 1%. So we are very
Yes.
happy.
That is amazing. So that's
Yeah.
two for everybody
Yep.
else. Dana and Frankie have two top 1% properties in Bradenton, Florida. Incredible property. They put a lot of work into them.
Yeah. So we were really excited and happy. And, I think a lot of our knowledge is due to being on these calls and asking questions and the community and, um, good design and good photos and everything else. But we're
Yeah.
really happy.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Of course. Course. They were mentioning the other day on the call too, for everybody else, like Dane and Frankie on their two properties have like straight 5-star reviews across the board. So we're talking about the importance of nowadays, like 3 years ago when I started, it wasn't that big of a deal. As long as you had 4.8 or higher, the top properties were all in that range and it wasn't a big deal. Nowadays, top properties, as soon as they started putting out those top 10, 5, 1%, I mean, that means everything. If you look at the top properties in any market, they're almost always sitting at like a 4.94, 4.97 or higher. Like hospitality at this point is just as critical as understanding your pricing to really maximize your nightly rates and your revenue. So it's worth putting that extra effort for your guests nowadays and acquiring those 5-star reviews. And that's like, doesn't even matter if you have, 5 reviews or 100 reviews. It matters now more than ever. Okay, so some people who don't really typically join the call, we have Bob and Lisa. Normally Emily does Wednesday's calls. She is out. And so I'm just kind of doing a Q&A. Do you guys have any questions?
Hi, Becky. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I do have a question. So
Okay.
September and October, I had a lot of 90 plus day bookings, but then I got several cancellations,
Mm-hmm.
which the days ended up booking again. And then same thing happened for Christmas week. I got a really good booking for a full week, would have been like a $7,000 payout.
Oh
And
my
then they
God.
canceled. And then a week later, they booked again. And so it probably was like a 6 week difference from the time from when they booked
Oh
to when
my
they
gosh.
rebooked. So
The
it
same
would have been
people?
yes. So it would have been a $5,000 payout. Well, they ended up canceling again. So I have filled some of those dates already, like towards the end of the year. Christmas is still open.
Yeah.
How do you go about cutting down on cancellations? I know sometimes people have stuff that comes up, but I'm wondering if that is like a pricing issue or if they're like booking a bunch of properties just to kind of see, reserve all of these and then go with the one they want. So I'm just kind of wondering about your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So unfortunately, nowadays people have learned how to manipulate the Airbnb system. So they've learned that the closer the dates get, the cheaper they are. If it's flexible, they cancel and come back. I'm like a big like pusher on using flexible cancellation policy until your property really builds its own momentum. In your case, your property, I would say, is probably there. Like I know you only went, I think, live this summer, right?
Yes, I have
Yeah.
33 reviews. I am a
Yeah.
top 1% property, 4.9%.
Yep, I would say you've probably built your own momentum and you're not relying on the algorithm as much. So if you wanted to increase your cancellation policy, if you haven't already, like I would say it's definitely justified at this point. And then for others, like I typically don't do that unless you no longer have to rely on the algorithm. Your property's going to be seen no matter what. It's not
Okay.
like it's gonna, so if you increase your cancellation policy, it's not like you're gonna take a major algorithm hit and get sent to the back. Like your property's gonna do good anyways. So
Okay.
that would be my first thing. As for like based on the people themselves, like unfortunately people are just learning that, on TikTok and everything. There are like literally like, you know, like dedicated pages to how to get around Airbnb now. And so, um, unfortunately, that's just unfortunate truth of it.
Okay, that
It's
sounds
gonna
good.
be those people sometimes. But hopefully this time, since you're changing that now, next year or, as these big dates come up next summer, it won't happen as much or at all.
All right. I think that's my only property, question. Sometimes I feel like oh my gosh, I'm not booked, but then I go and check my percentage and I'm like, I'm still sitting 7 to 10, sometimes 13% above.
Perfect. Perfect.
So,
Yep. And you mentioned
okay.
those available days, as long as they're so okay. What days available do you still have or around Christmas?
I have,
Are you able to screen share?
I
Are you on your desktop?
can, let me get it. Oh, screen share or just share my property?
If you could screen share your actual calendar, that'd be even more helpful.
Okay, how do I screen share it?
For me, on the toolbar in the bottom of the Zoom screen in the middle will have a share button with a green box and an arrow. Does yours look like that?
Yes, it does. Let me go get my let me go get my listing pulled up.
I'm just more of a visual person. I'm gonna have a million questions to try to build that visual.
Okay, do you see that now?
Yes. Okay. So December, the weekend's already booked, so New Year's is all booked up. So you do have like the good days of Christmas still available. Um, can we go into the traveler side? Let's go compare prices. Have we done that?
Not as recently. I did a little bit. Hang on, let me see if I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, let's go to the dates. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and then the filter for mm, we'll do filters for probably let's try 6 bedroom.
I have a 4 bedroom,
Oh, oh yeah, okay.
but I do have
Um,
6 beds.
okay, so do entire home because you're an entire home. No, per room, 4 bedroom. Good. That's all that matters. I don't care about the rest. Okay. So the closer the dates are, the more flexible you have to be on like filters and who you're comparing with and everything. Well, let me hold on, go back up. Didn't see all this at all. Okay, so you're sitting at a little over 3,000. Okay, we need to zoom in closer. So your property is right here by the golf
Like,
course.
yes.
Yeah, let's zoom in a little bit closer to that. That's probably good right there. Um, So 31, 23, 15. Keep going down to the left side. You have a hot tub, 35. This one's at 35, but it's a 5 bedroom, has mini golf, hot tub, arcade, 22. Okay, keep going down. And keep in mind that everything here is available currently. There's a couple people that are sitting at that 33, but they're larger homes I'm seeing so far. Okay. Okay, so I think we're for the 4 bedrooms, I think we need to bring the price down a little bit.
Okay.
I wouldn't always be so aggressive if we were much farther out. Either way, I think the price does come down, but I'm obviously being more aggressive because it is, less than a month away, and you don't want to like price it too high and mm, risk completely missing it.
Do you think I should add like a 10% last minute or just adjust the prices in general?
Um, not a, mm, you're not going to adjust the prices in general because we haven't looked at the other prices. So for this one, we wanted to come down. I'd like to see it closer to that 25, 26, and then I'm pretty aggressively on watch it, for like each week. If it does, you don't see something in a week, then bring it down another $100 kind of thing. Let's go into, let's go back to your switch to hosting. I'm gonna try a couple different things. We're gonna do like a length of stay discount to try to entice people to stay longer.
Okay, so go into my calendar.
Yep, go into calendar, click on your property, December. Actually, I think you have to do these discounts on the
On the
multi-calendar.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So then we'll go to December. What is that? 22nd. Okay. Can you click all of these days?
Do you want me to be doing this through Airbnb or
Yep.
Hospitable?
Airbnb. Well, I could do it either way. I forget that Hospitable even allows you to do this now, but really doesn't matter. It's only works for Airbnb anyways. Okay. So on the right side, let's go down to rule sets.
And do you want a hospitable one or Airbnb?
We're going to create a new one.
Okay,
Did you create all these?
I did. Well,
Tell.
hospitable then copies them and puts them in.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So add new rule set. I don't think that you have this yet in there. And let's do length of stay discount. Okay. So yeah, you could definitely do.
Is that a 5 night?
Yeah, we have 5 dates available. Hold on, let me think about how much of a discount I want to put. So if you're sitting at what was it, 3,300? Okay, I would do a 30% discount and even be a little bit more aggressive, but yeah. Mm. If it were
Well,
me,
yeah,
I'd
2,500 would be 25% discount, right?
yeah, 30% discount would be about 23. Um, for like a competitive price right now, I would say like if people were to book like a 2 night stay, like the lowest price I'd want to see for that is probably 26 or so. So if people were to book all 5 of those days, I would personally would be willing to give more of a discount because the chance of someone booking 5 nights is like extremely rare. So I would offer a pretty aggressive discount if it were me. Either probably 40% if it were me. If you want to be less aggressive, maybe 30%.
Well, let's go with 40.
Yeah, not high chance people are going to book that. Okay, then go back up. No.
So does
Wait,
that,
wait, I'm not done yet. I want to do one
okay,
for, yeah, I don't think we saved that.
do
Okay,
another length of stay?
yep, do one for 4 nights, 3 nights. I would do one for each, just a little bit less of a discount on each. That way that no matter what they book, like if they book 2 days and they're going to be, prompted to be like, if you just book one more day, you can get it for this rate
Okay.
for
So
each
like
of these.
a 35% for 4 night.
I would do 30 and then do 20 for 3 nights. Well, I want to see that come down 600. Yeah, 20% for 3 nights. I think that's good. We still need to bring, and then 10% for 2 nights. I would do that because we still need to bring the overall price down, even if someone books 2 nights, it's still a bit high. So that way, if they book 2 nights, we're sitting more at that 28 range. 3 nights, which is most likely what someone will book is 3 nights. Okay, so let's save that. I just would name this. I guess you don't have to name it. You can name it whatever you want, like a 5, 4, 3, 2 kind of thing. And then inhospitable, I would, for Christmas Day itself, I would restrict people from checking in or out on that day.
I think I already did,
Okay.
but I'll check. It's Christmas the 25th.
Yes. Okay, it doesn't look like it. I would definitely do that. Yeah, that way they're forced to book your $600 nights. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That is what I would do. And then each week, as it gets closer, you sit on next Wednesday or so, I would be more and more aggressive, but also being competitive.
Okay.
To be more
And then
aggressive, like not expecting people to maybe book 3 or 4 days, like accepting they're probably going to book 2 or 3 days. So kind of pushing those discounts more.
so also a question, like I think I've said this, I get a lot of bookings Thursday check-in, Sunday checkout in Arvada. If I want
Good.
to try to capitalize on that checkout on Monday, would I add my length of stay for night for Monday? Or do you have to add it? Yeah, if I just want to give them a discount for just that extra fourth day.
Um, for like any weekend, like if you're looking at the future, you want to like if anybody's willing to book an
Yes.
extra day,
Yep.
I think you would have to do a length of stay discount manually for every weekend.
But would it be added to Monday? It wouldn't be added to Thursday because they always, well, a lot of times check in on Thursday. So like if
We
they
have
normally checked in
Thursday night, Friday
Thursday,
night, Saturday night, Sunday night.
I would add it
So if
to,
Yeah, so if you did a length of stay from Thursday to Sunday, that would be 4 nights, and that would force them to stay till Monday. They would have to book those if they booked with that discount. But then I guess yes, the possibility is that they could book also Friday to Monday instead.
so in order to do that, you highlight all 4 days.
Yeah, because anytime within that 4 days, you're willing to well, if somebody books all 4 days, you'd give a 4 day discount
Okay.
within those days.
Okay.
Yeah, they booked it, or maybe all the way till Monday. I don't know if we ended it on a Sunday, if that counts as Saturday night booking or Sunday night booking. I'm pretty sure that's a Sunday night booking it would include, which would be Monday checkout, which is what you want, right? Checkout Monday?
Yes, because I get a lot of 3 day weekends, and I feel like if I could try to capitalize even on one more day, as
Yeah.
many weekends as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this idea because like instead most people would go into price labs and they'd set a 4 night minimum to try to force it, but then you're not visible for anybody else. But I like this idea a lot.
Okay.
Because I bet
Yeah,
you out
other
of like, I bet you I don't know, even if 25% of people took your offer, that would be an extra day. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have any questions except for just those cancellations this fall. I was like, oh my gosh, like you're like way ahead of like occupancy, and then you get all the cancellations, and it then puts you behind. It's
Yeah.
like this is ping pong.
It is very frustrating. I would say in your case, you can definitely increase your cancellation policy at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
I would consider, but unfortunate that we can't do our cancellation policies based on the time of year, because I would consider that you're going into low season. I'd rather see cancellation policy going into high season, but
Well, I can wait to enforce it until,
maybe like end of
you know,
January, something
yeah, 90 days
mid-February.
out from like the end of May. So February maybe.
Yeah, because most people are going to be booking summertime come February, March. So they'll start making June, July bookings. So I would definitely have it by February. Yeah.
Okay. I'll hold off on it until then. And then I can always like put it back, come into the low season.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's what I'm struggling with right now. So
Yeah. Well, right now you still have big events and or big holidays. So that I would still consider this not high, but it's definitely a mid-season. It's going to look a lot different come January. Even the best of properties, they're,
yeah,
you
I
know,
think I have like most of my January weekends booked out
good.
because they were like 90-day out bookings.
It's amazing.
I don't know what's wrong with me. There we go.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, you can see I get a lot of three, Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, I'd say that's already amazing. So hopefully you can get, I would put length of stay discounts on any of these weekdays that you already have the weekends booked on both ends because they're going to be super hard to get booked. So you might as well get them discounted like or incentivize people to book those as soon as possible.
Okay.
Because even if these rates are competitive, like if you were to go look, they're probably competitive because people don't have the weekends booked. They definitely want to be in the lower end if there's no weekends available.
Yeah, because like my November,
Yep.
so like it booked out weekends, but I mean the 14th was a Verbo, but you can tell like the second through the fifth, like those all sat vacant.
Yeah, that's hard. This definitely makes sense for this time of year, though, with a lot of sports going on in this kind of area. People tend to book up weekends way in advance, but hopefully for higher rates to kind of make up for it.
Yeah, it's been pulling a profit every month. But of course, I'd always like to see my numbers way up there.
Of course. Of course.
Okay, thanks, Becky.
Okay. Of course. Okay. Um, Bob, did you have questions?
Can
Anything?
you hear me?
I can. Yeah. How can I
Oh,
help?
okay. Well, is if there's anybody that's been out there that has results for a year, do they have their percent of return on the money they invested?
There are some here. Well, Lisa hasn't been quite a year yet. David's new, Frankie and Dana they're two properties they purchased outside of the program. And then I think the rest are new. These calls are typically more newer people in the program for the help. And once
Okay,
people start really doing well, then they start kind of going about their thing.
sure. What's the best way to find that information out? Would it be going through the um, oh, what am I trying to say? The Circle program?
Yeah, you can ask in the circle, maybe ask the Cassie or the success team. They might have that kind of data,
Okay.
or see if people are willing to answer that in the circle group for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, John and Ashley, are you guys there? I'm just answering questions. Normally it's Emily on Wednesday, but she is out this week, so I'm just here answering questions in case anybody has any. I see you unmuted. Do you have any questions?
I would say no questions right now. I'm just trying to be a sponge.
Okay, where are you at in your process?
Uh, very much in the weeds. Uh,
Yeah.
looking to potentially close on a property here very, very quickly in Colorado. Hopefully, I will say. Um, I would say in the weeds. That's where we're at.
Yeah, just getting it done. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty much.
Colorado's been a really good market. Lisa, we're just looking at. She's in Colorado.
Yeah,
Really good market.
it's a favorite place of ours. So,
Perfect. Okay. And then Bob, I didn't ask, are you in the process of searching for a property or just getting into the program? Well, maybe not there. Okay.
Becky, what's your
Okay.
experience?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Hmm, good question. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. There was somebody else speaking. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just asking you where are you at in the program so far? Are you just
I'm
starting
actually
or
new to you. I'm a very experienced investor in real estate, but
okay?
I'm new to your program.
Okay.
So I'm looking for my first property.
Very nice. Okay, cool. Well, I hope you keep coming to these calls as you're going through your process. Feel free to always bring properties here to kind of review together if you have any questions. Happy to go through those. I try to do a lot of Q&As nowadays. And I always leave time, even when I have a topic, I leave time for Q&A.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So John actually asked my experience, or where I'm at in my process, I suppose. And so I joined the program myself as a client when they first started. I had sold my property. I'm here in Alaska. Sold my house that I lived in for a long time, was looking to dip my toes into real estate, and this is how I felt was my way of dipping my toes without jumping all the way in. I had my first property in Glendale, Arizona, and it was a four bedroom in Glendale. And then I quickly, within 6 months, took over a property in San Antonio. And then by August that year, I took over a property in Bloomington, Indiana. So I have the three properties, and then I manage a few properties. I do coaching for the program. I'll set up your listing once you guys, get everything, your property found, designed, everything. You guys will come in with your photos, and I'll get your Airbnb listing all set up. And yeah, I talk a lot in the program. Like me and Emily are the coaches. On Mondays, I normally coach and I talk a lot about pricing, market research. I'm really into the more data side of things. And Emily is really good. She also is very big into the data, but she's really good on the operational side, having your SOPs, building out your teams. Um, and she's also a property manager as well, locally in Colorado. So we are both have made short-term rentals into our full-time gig in the last, for me, it's been the last 3.5 years now. So yeah, so I started
Awesome.
off just like you guys
Yeah, in the weeds.
in the weeds.
Yeah. So
Well, it sounds like you've been there over a year. Do you have a rate of return on your property?
Yeah, so well, mine are a little bit different, right? Because I took over their leases, so I was able to get in pretty cheap to their property. I didn't have to do the full design because not they were not in a position of wanting to continue operating. Anyway, so I took it in. So my San Antonio property, like I only paid to take it over like 12,000 total. I just took over their furniture and everything. So I was able to make my return in the first year. And but it took me about 11 months because my margins were a little bit lower considering I had a little bit less to invest into it. And then my Bloomington one was I switched up my strategy. Started off short term, even though I intended to do midterm when I underwrote it, and then transitioned it into a midterm per room. So I was doing a lot of travel nurses and students in the university there at Bloomington. And so my return took a little bit longer just because I had a little bit of a delay there with getting the midterm stays. And so it took me about 13 months for a return on that one. And then Arizona, that was my first, that was like my learning curve on that one. So I mean, that one took me a little bit longer, about 18 months for that one.
Now, do you know what percent return you got on your money?
Um, I haven't really calculated that since. I don't have the Arizona property anymore. But the other two, I have not calculated that.
Okay.
Kind of doing just cash on cash, like how long it took me to repay what I put into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Becky, I'm curious too, that Colorado property, it's prettier in the spring than it's going to be right now. So we
Yeah.
go and close, we photograph, we're going to obviously highlight what we highlight.
Hmm.
Is there any advantage in going back in the springtime when the grass is green and the trees aren't dead to
Yeah.
reduce some of those exterior pictures and things? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. A lot of people do have like different season photos. Like that's very normal. I would say it's a good idea to go get photos done once a year anyways. It's like photos is like your best return on investment in short-term rentals.
Yeah.
You can have the best design in the world, but it doesn't matter if the photos don't show it. So
Yeah.
I do think it's well worth going back.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But it'll be good because even if you go during the slow season, you get to work out all the kinks of the property. You get to start building out. Like if you launch, are you anticipating launching by like January 1st or halfway through January?
Landlord loved us to have be there on 1/1, but that's a tight time frame considering there are two major holidays coming up in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
where I'm trying to push for a 1/15 launch instead. Well, not launch, but just taking over the property, like initial on the lease. So then we'll have to spend 30 days, 2 weeks designing, building, anything else to
Okay.
end up doing. That's my thought anyway. Is that about accurate?
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that they try to turn around properties and I don't know. I don't work with the design team, but I think in about 10 days or so.
Yeah.
So cool. So between that, getting your listing set up. So yeah, probably about 2.5 weeks. And then, so let's say February 1st-ish, first week of
Right.
February. So in order to Superhost is at the end of March. So that gives you 7 or 8 weeks once you're live. You need to have 10 completed stays within that time period and at least one 4.8 star or better review. So it is not too difficult to try to get 10 reviews and or 10 stays within 2 months. Typical is like 6 to 8 stays per month. How big is the property?
2,400 square foot, 4.3.
Sorry, four bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would imagine probably 6, 7 stays per month. So it's just being a little bit more aggressive on trying to get those stays in the door and done before the end of um,
Yeah.
March. And that way you're set up for summertime. You already got Superhost, you're getting reviews in the door, the algorithm loves it, and you get to push kind of, start building your prices a little faster. So
Yeah. So we'll
I,
we'll be a cost effective
yeah.
home up front with that in mind for sure. Okay.
Yeah. But not too far because you are trying to build your value. So just being competitive for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I saw something in the chat here. Maybe I can't chance you to have 10 minutes after the call.
Hey, Becky, sorry, I have
There's
a
that.
quick
Okay.
question about the
Yeah,
superhost. Sorry. So if we were to launch now and get some stays, would that all be disregarded then come January 1st, as far as the superhost goes, we'd be back to square one again? Or would any of that carry over?
it should carry over. It's
Okay.
just 10, yeah. So as long as you have a 10 complete saves by the next one, it should be fine,
And the next one is
I
in,
believe. I
when
don't
is,
know if actually I don't know that 100%. I don't know if it's per the quarter term, like from January 1st to March 31st, or if it's just total. I think it's total,
okay.
but it
Very
could
good.
be between each quarter. Sorry, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't thought about that. Pretty sure it's total.
I have a question regarding reviews. Hey Becky, this is Allie.
Hey,
Um, and I apologize in advance for the toddler noises and speaking in the background that may occur. Um,
okay.
but regarding reviews, do you have any tips on incentivizing reviews? Feel like I've had a couple stays where the stays went really great. The guests were really happy, and I'll send over my message, like if you had a 5-star experience, we'd love to hear from you on our listing, whatever. And they'll even respond in the message and say, yeah, absolutely, 5-star review coming your way, and then like nothing. I was able to get one today and I just followed up. It was at the 10-day mark and I was like, hey, just a friendly reminder, we'd really appreciate it. And she did put a review,
Good.
which was great. But we only have 13, now 14 reviews. And I'm really focusing on my reviews because we had a couple bumps in the road on the beginning of our launch with just some house issues that were totally out of
Mhm.
our control. Um, and then my average went from a 4.62 to a 4.64.
Oh my gosh.
And I only have 13 reviews, so I thought it would go up a little bit more. I thought I'd get to like 4.75 or something, since I don't
Yeah.
have that many reviews. So I don't know if you have any insight on that, on how the average works, and then also just like general incentivization without being like annoying about it in the messages.
Um, I would give them a call. That's what I've it
Okay.
worked for me really well, as well as I've heard some other people doing that, especially in the beginning. Really putting that personal touch, making them really understand that this is like your personal business and it really matters to you, and people tend to follow through a little bit better. And
Okay.
then as for like the reviews, it it is just average. So unfortunately, it
And it's
goes
average of what is posted, not average of all the stays, correct? Like if it's the average of
correct.
reviews. Okay.
Correct. Yep. And so obviously, when you're expecting reviews, you've also left them a review.
Yes. I
Okay.
always leave them a review first. Hold on, Silas. I always leave them a review first. Well, after I get the cleaning report and make sure,
Yeah.
everything is great. Which has been, fine most of the time.
hmm
But
Okay. Yeah. I would call them. I've noticed that that
I
seems
would
to
do
help a
that.
lot.
Yeah,
Um,
seems fair.
yeah. That's what I've seen work the best. Other than that, like, yeah, handing them with messages doesn't quite work super well. Um,
Yeah, kind of just taking the
but
L, like send them 2 messages, and if after 2 messages, this was actually the first time for today's review that I sent like a third message, and I did wait about 5 days to not
yeah.
feel totally obnoxious, and it worked. But yeah, I don't want to be like annoying. I've kind of just been like, all right, I guess it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I would give them a call. Um, Dana, do you have any recommendations on how you push reviews? Or is it just a little different in that location? If you're there. No, she must not be listening. Yeah, that's what I would try. That's what I've done. That's what's worked for me in times of need as I'm struggling.
Sorry, I'm here. I was like struggling to unmute myself. Um, I think how is your communication, would you say, been when the guests are there? Like, what is your interaction? Are people chatty when they're there and then they like ghost you? Or would you say you're interacting with them, from when they're, making the booking and then when they're checking in and stuff like that? Or do you have it more automated and not so much interaction earlier on?
I definitely have my automated messages, and then I do send, at times I've sent out like more personal messages, or more like, hey, just a reminder, you could enjoy like we set up some really nice string lights in the backyard.
Mhm.
So I'll like just put a quick note like on how to get the string lights on. Um
Uh-huh. When you send your initial messages, are you sending them out because our messages from the beginning are like, we look forward to hosting you and providing
yeah,
a 5-star experience, and like setting
yeah.
the tone in all of the
Mm,
messages, like reminding 5-star, 5-star, like don't hesitate to reach out. I mean, sometimes people
Yeah.
just don't review. Um, and
Yeah,
we had
all
one.
of that. I have my automated messages like, thank you so much for booking. We're excited to host you. Looking forward to, I don't know word for word, but looking forward to having a 5-star experience, or
Yeah, yeah. As long as you're like setting it up and like, I think using the words 5-star experience, like it's kind of
mhm.
annoying, but sometimes people don't get like how important it really is to
it's
have 5-star. Like, oh, 4 stars is like good. Like that's a good thing. Like, no, it's really not. That hurts us. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I think, do you have like a guidebook or anything that you
I
use, or
do not have a
information?
physical guidebook on site. No, I have I just have
A
the
digital one?
digital like Airbnb check-in property instructions or whatever.
Because one thing we have touch stay, and we made like a digital guidebook, and outlining the property and some of our favorite restaurants in the area and things to do, and things within like an hour drive. And I feel like sometimes that, I don't know, maybe that helps, like they're getting more excited about the trip. But there's going to be some people who are just so caught up, they're on vacation, and then I don't
Yeah,
think they really get it. But I think sometimes, like,
I'm sure. And
it sounds like you have everything set up and you're sending the message from the beginning, like drilling it in their head, 5-star experience. Um,
yeah,
it's
I think,
it's a borderline. You don't want to be like you said, like pushy and annoying, but at the same time, you also want those reviews. I've
yeah.
never tried calling. That was interesting to hear that, Becky. I don't. What do you say to them when you call? Like, what is it that you're saying?
I was kind of like, hey, it's Becky, the host, from the Airbnb you just stayed at, or whatever I say. And I'm like, I noticed you haven't left a review yet. I just wanted to give you a quick call because it's really important for my business that we hear your feedback. It lets, other guests know how your experience was, and makes a lot, like, big difference. And um, I just, kind of like, I'd really appreciate it if you wouldn't mind doing that. Just wanted to give you a reminder kind of thing.
And people have been like, I feel like if I don't know a
Yeah.
number, I am not really one to answer my phone, but people answer
Yeah.
and they're receptive to those phone calls.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Most of the time they're
Okay.
like, oh my gosh, like, I'm sorry, I just forgot. Like, I'll do that. Like, kind of like
Hmm.
still like the message, but I feel like the personal touch just makes them feel a little bit more responsible.
Yeah. Well, next time we're, you know, creeping up on when reviews are due, we might have to, maybe we'll try that tactic and
Yeah.
say, hey, interesting. No, I mean,
Yeah.
You can also
But I'm glad you,
probably phrase it like, are there any improvements that you'd like to
oh,
share?
yeah.
Add that too. I kind of like when I send a message, I'm like, I ask for the 5-star review, or I say, if you had a 5-star experience, we would love a review.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. It helps our business. And then I also add a note like, if there's any recommendations that you have to improve the experience, I'd love your feedback. Always looking to better our business or our guest experience, however.
Yeah.
yeah.
If they hadn't already verified that they had a good experience, I definitely asked for feedback first. That's for sure. But I like your point too, Dana. I feel like I haven't talked about reviews in such a long time because sometimes I forget about, like, talking to people new in the program and everything, and just some of the basics of, I agree, it's really kind of pounding into their head. It's putting it in your initial message, like your new reservation message. I can't wait to give you a 5-star review. If you have one that goes out like 5 days early, like, again, I can't wait to give you a 5-star review. And your check-in, or after they check in, like the next morning when you send a message, like just reaching out, hope everything's going well, and then 5-star review, like however you want to reword that a different way. A lot of people talk about putting that in their Wi-Fi, like the name of their Wi-Fi or the password for their
Mm.
Wi-Fi, just to like, it's more of like psychological idea of really pushing into their brain how important the 5-star review is, and then leaving a review in general. So I'm glad you brought that back up.
I feel like
Okay,
I'm getting
cool.
some karma for the couple Airbnbs that I've stayed at and didn't leave a review for.
I agree. Every
Yeah.
time I go to a restaurant, I think about this so much more now because I used to be the person who was like, if it's not above and beyond, I'm not giving a 5-star review, and now I realize how important it is. And every time I go to a restaurant or any event, I always think about doing it, and I almost always forget. So I think it is just a reminder, and I think the personal touch matters to me. That's why I started doing it. Because I've had somebody call me from like a local artist in town when I bought like a wall art, and they called me for a review. That really kind of clicked for me then.
Yeah, or even like the photographer or, like other small business vendors, like for them to be more visible on Yelp or Google or whatever to have reviews because now you get it more. And I don't think, I mean, I didn't really understand it or appreciate it until you actually see how it changes things and your
Yeah.
visibility and bookings and everything else, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's not like annoying, like this actually really makes a difference for people and their business.
Yep. I agree. These are good things to be talking about in this call because I don't think I've gone, like, again, I haven't gone over the basics of kind of Airbnb and the algorithm and everything in a long time. So I think next Monday, um, I'll do like the basics of Airbnb, talking about reviews, talking about what qualifications you need for Superhost, talking about like understanding the algorithm and kind of going over some basic settings, why I recommend these settings versus other settings. Um, a little bit more because I haven't done that in a long time. So if you are interested in Airbnb, if you don't have a property yet or do have a property, then come to next Monday's call. Okay, I'm just writing down that so I remember to do this. Okay, cool. I think we got through everyone's questions. I hope Bob and John will be guys keep coming to the calls and I'm excited to see you guys' property and then for it to be designed. And then hopefully we'll be talking when it's time to do your listing. So if we don't have any more questions, then we'll probably get going.
Okay,
Yes,
Thanks,
well, thank
Becky.
you, Becky.
of course. Of course. Okay, I'll talk